In 2006, just before retiring, a professor at the Pontifical University, the Gregorian, in Rome, with the Vatican, gave me this book, and his last name was Sante Babolin, and deals with recognition of persons through iconic representations in art. Basically a nice metaphor for studying reincarnation cases, which came pretty easily for me, and I'm thankful that the monk there was confirming my subject of reincarnation studies as a art issue in among the Jesuits there. They don't concede that they study reincarnation cases, but they definitely do treat women and human beings like works of art. So I treat them more like human beings, and instead of a psychiatrist or psychologist, if you're a good artist or photojournalist, you can basically help restore people's unified field in reincarnation, even if they are amputees. Their mind and body memory still retains the feeling of an arm, and in reincarnation studies you still retain the feeling and memory at a preconscious level of your former selves. So my name is Silvia Francesca Stein, and that little sculpture there was a sculpture that my mom made. She's a talented artist as well as I, and I just happened to go on to graduate studies in communication studies and applied a lot of the things that a psychiatrist, Ian Stevenson, did in photography to my own interests in photojournalism and documenting reincarnation cases and using them in such a way that people can empower themselves rather than being treated as a medical case or something. So here we have someone who I suspected was a reincarnation case, and I happen to have very bad eyesight, so without my glasses I see like the shadowy form of persons. It's sort of like in black and white, like black and white photography, or like looking at negatives. So I just sort of had this visual imprint of the subject there, and with photography I was able to illustrate to other people how I basically saw that person, which is sort of a holographic imprint of their previous self or frame upon their current image as it is seen in this incarnation. So there's the sort of a cutout, and let's see, and over the person there. We were working in a former KGB laboratory, so I underwent some of the studies that the subject underwent also, just to make sure that there was no harm done. So he survived, I survived, and nobody was injured or uncomfortable with the study there. So you can basically apply the same technique yourself. If you have a computer, you don't have to see myopically and from a distance sort of see shades of black and white on people in order to see their previous incarnation. So for instance, here's a black and white photo of Billie Holiday, and this is one person who at first I didn't understand who I was looking at, but it felt familiar, and so I asked her to come in for a photo shoot, and I did some photographs, and I prefer to work with black and white or something close to it. So with the photos I was able to basically confirm what I was seeing was correct. So it's easier for you to see it though on a computer, so because you can't see the way I see. So anyhow, here's the person, and here's the previous incarnation, and what I'm looking at are these features here, like the cheekbones, the eyebrows, and so on, things that remain fairly consistent throughout incarnations. And you just treat it like a film negative. So we invert the colors there. So we're just basically looking at a skeletal frame and not necessarily the color of her skin. She's now white, she was black. So here we go and invert the colors on this. Okay, and it's easiest to do a symmetrical study. So I'm just going to cut out half the face and paste it onto here. So we see if the left side is symmetrical with the right side once I do the sort of copy and paste. So the skeletal features are fairly consistent. You don't look at the outer epidermal or skin stuff because that changes from incarnation to incarnation. But the skeletal features are fairly symmetrical. Symmetrical means it's identical. And on left compared to right. And then we go to invert colors. And here. And so basically we have a positive identification of a reincarnation case, just based on photography. And for a few thousand years, the priests of the Catholic Church have been studying this phenomenon the same way through artwork. They call them icons. But really all it is a photographic subject, and the new art photograph of the person matches with an old art photograph, so it looks like we've got a case of a reincarnation of Billie Holiday in a Caucasian human subject of Scottish background.